Hello friends, in my last lecture we have seen the rates of tax as far as individuals are concerned. I discussed the provision of existing scheme and the provision of new scheme, that is section 115 BAC. In this lecture friends, we are going to look at certain questions where we compute the tax liability under the existing scheme and the old scheme. But before I proceed on to that, I want to give you two clarifications with regard to the existing scheme. And that is, first and foremost, one thing you should not forget. Whenever in Income Tax Act, and at various places this will happen, whenever in Income Tax Act, I ask you that what is the definition of a senior citizen or super senior citizen, your response should be that, sir, senior citizen means a person who has attained the age of 60 but not 80 at any time during the year and who is a resident in India. Super senior citizen means a person who has attained the age of 80 at any time during the year and who is a resident in India. So if you are a non-resident friends, then you are never a senior citizen or a super senior citizen. If the question under existing scheme states that assessee is a 82-year-old who is a non-resident, then friends, the normal tax rate will apply over here. That is, basic exemption limit shall be 2,50,000. That's the reason why, friends, when I told you first point covers individual, I did not write individual who has not attained the age of 60. I wrote individual other than the ones who are covered in point number 2 and 3. And who are covered in point number 2 and 3? Senior or super senior citizen, but they must be resident in India. So I hope you understand. If the assessee is a non-resident individual, then the tax rate for point number 1 will apply to him under existing scheme, even if irrespective of his age. Naturally, under the new scheme of 115 BAC, there is no categorization of senior citizen and super senior citizen. So this discussion is not relevant for the new scheme. The second point which I wish to clarify is with respect to a circular given by Central Board of Direct Taxes. Now this circular, friends, please mark my words, is very interesting and I'll tell you why. Again, since this circular pertains to the age determination of senior and super senior or very senior citizens, this is relevant only under the existing scheme. Now, let me put it in a question format. If I ask you that a person was born on 1/4/1961, when does he attain the age of 60 years? Can I make a statement, friends? He will attain the age of 60 on 1st April 2021. So, if I ask you for financial year 21-22, is this person a senior citizen? Absolutely yes. Because he has attained the age of 60 on 1st April 2021. But the moot question is that as far as financial year 2021 is concerned, will this person be regarded as senior citizen or not? Please understand my question again. My date of birth is 1/4, not my actual date of birth, but assuming my date of birth is 1/4/1961, then on 1st April 2021 I have attained the age of 60. So for financial year 2021-22, am I a senior citizen? Yes, of course. On first day of the year itself was my 60th birthday. But what about financial year 2021? So here your CBDT has clarified based on a Supreme Court ruling that generally, I mean, they give very nice logic. They say, or if I may rephrase it, when do you wish birthday to your best friend? You know, all of us have one best friend or maybe more than one. So that friend, when do you wish happy birthday to you? You wish at midnight. Why do you wish at midnight? Because at midnight itself, that person or his birthday has started. So what CBDT clarifies is that when your birthday is on 1st April, so on 31st March 2021, midnight itself, you have attained the age of 60. So even for the purpose of financial year 2021, you will be considered as a senior citizen. Please understand this. When are you considered senior citizen? When you have attained the age of 60 but not 80 at any time during the year. So CBDT says even if it is on 31st March midnight, still you will be considered as senior citizen for the purpose of Income Tax Act. That is what the circular states. It is clarification regarding attaining prescribed age of 60 or 80 years on 31st March itself in case of senior citizen or very senior citizen whose date of birth falls on 1st April for the purpose of Income Tax Act. And they have stated over here that in cases of persons whose date of birth falls on 1st April of calendar year, in other words, the broader question under consideration is whether person born on 1st April of particular year can be said to have completed a particular age on 31st March on the preceding day of his or her birthday or on the 1st April itself of that year. Then they have given certain Supreme Court decision, that's fine. I'll just read the observation. Supreme Court observed that while counting the age of person, whole of the day should be reckoned and it starts from 12 o'clock in the midnight and he attains the specified age on the preceding day, the day preceding the anniversary of his birthday. In view of the aforesaid judgment, CBDT in exercise of powers under section 119 will be coming to section 119 later, hereby clarifies that a person born on 1st April would be considered to have attained a particular age on 31st March, the day preceding the anniversary of his birthday. In particular, the question of attainment of age of eligibility for being considered senior or very senior citizen would therefore be decided on the basis of above criteria. So I hope you understand, friends, that this circular would be relevant only when you're born on 1st April. Only then it makes sense because that makes the difference of a year. Second, this is only relevant for the existing scheme, not new scheme, because under new scheme there is no categorization of senior and very senior citizen. But under existing scheme, if you are born on 1st April, then it is deemed that you complete the age of attaining 60 on the 31st March midnight itself. So even in the preceding year, you will be considered as a senior citizen. I hope that point is clear. After clarifying those 2 points, friends, let me move over to the questions. As I told you, we'll be looking at certain questions. We now know the scheme of old and new, that is existing and new. I'll be looking at certain questions on that. But before that, friends, let me also clarify as to what are the rates of surcharge, because when we do the questions, there will be certain questions when surcharge also has to be added. So here please understand, first of all, friends, that surcharge is something that is added to the tax amount. So tax is calculated on your income, surcharge is calculated on the amount of tax. And how much is the surcharge? In case your income, total income exceeds 50 lakh rupees but it does not exceed 1 crore total income, then the rate of surcharge is 10%. If your total income exceeds 1 crore but does not exceed 2 crore, then it is 15%. In case your total income exceeds 2 crore but does not exceed 5 crore, then last year Finance Number 2 Act 2019 exponentially increased the rate of surcharge. They made it 25%. and in case your income exceeds 5 crores, the rate of surcharge was made as 37%. But the government clarified here, friends, because there was a big backlash. People said that we are not going to pay this 25% and 37% surcharge. So, first in the lot who revolted against this were FIIs, that is foreign institutional investors. So, government clarified that when foreign institutional investors earn income from capital gain, their surcharge would be restricted only to 15% on such capital gain, irrespective of the fact that capital gain may be 5 crore or about 2 crore, doesn't matter. The maximum surcharge will be 15% on the amount of capital gain earned by FII. We will be doing some computation based questions on that in non-resident taxation chapter. But the point is that rate of surcharge would be restricted to 15% for FIIs on the income earned by way of capital gain. So many other people said, sir, what crime have we conducted? For their capital gain FII, you are restricting the surcharge rate to 15%. For us also you do it. So government said, fine, in case you earn capital gain under section 111A and 112A, that is short-term capital gain on listed share or long-term capital gain on listed shares, then again the rate of surcharge will be restricted to 15% on such amount of capital gain, irrespective of the fact that your total income exceeds 2 crores or 5 crores. This again, friends, I have discussed in greater depth in capital gains chapter, at which point in time certain questions are also covered. But let us right now only focus on the rate of surcharge. So if I ignore this capital gain point for the time being, I can say that the surcharge rates are given in the Finance Act. Maximum surcharge rate can be 37%. Minimum surcharge rate is 10% if your income exceeds 50 lakh rupees. I say this at the cost of repetition, that tax is calculated on the income, surcharge is added to the amount of tax, and on the total of tax plus surcharge you add 4% health and education cess. So after that, friends, one last point before again I move over to the question is rebate under section 87A. Most of you all are aware about this, that when your total income of individual who is resident in India, individual, not HUF, individual who is resident in India, total income does not exceed 5 lakhs, then you will get a rebate under section 87A either of your entire tax payable or 12,500 rupees, whichever is lower. So lower of the two will be the eligible rebate under section 87A. So now, friends, now comes the time when we look at certain questions. Let's try and solve it together. My request to you all is that first question, let me do it. You can just watch as I'm doing it. After that, you may pause the video. If you wish to copy, answers are already given. If you wish to copy some specific point, you may do that. But let us solve it so that we have a better understanding. I've already covered the existing scheme vis-a-vis new scheme. I've already covered surcharge rates. I've already covered what is rebate, and I told you that health and education cess to be added is 4%. So the question says calculate tax liability in the following cases. Case 1 says Mr. X, aged 53 years, a resident, has gross total income of 76 lakhs. He avails a deduction under chapter 6A of 2 lakhs. Now this is one point which you need to note. Many a times in the question they may indicate, and you have to decipher, you have to understand whether the assessee has gone for existing scheme or new scheme. So under the new scheme, one of the condition is that chapter 6A deduction cannot be availed. But here they have given that he does avail a deduction under chapter 6A. So can I make a statement, friends, that because he has availed chapter 6A deduction means he is not opting for the new scheme and he is going for the existing scheme. Let me reiterate this. Under new scheme, the individual does have a choice, either new scheme or existing scheme. But under new scheme, there is no option of availing various deductions. 41 points we saw. Out of that, one of the points was that you cannot avail deduction under chapter 6A. Here, has the assessee availed deduction? Yes. So that by implication is telling me that the assessee does not wish to go for new scheme and is opting for the existing scheme. When you go for the existing scheme, slab rate depends on what? whether you are senior citizen, super senior citizen or otherwise. So can I make a statement his age is given in this question as 53? So he is neither super senior citizen nor senior citizen. So naturally the normal slab rate will apply. So now I am going to solve the question over here. How do I calculate the taxes? I will write down case 1, answer to question number 5. In that case 1, calculation of tax liability for Mr. X for AY 2021-22. Now, first and foremost, I will write down over here, since the question states that Mr. X wishes to avail deduction, let us say under section 80C, that is part of chapter 6A. He cannot avail beneficial tax rates prescribed under section 115 BAC. Therefore, the tax liability as per rates prescribed in Finance Act 2020 shall be as under. In the question, friends, they have told me that the gross total income is how much? I believe they have told me it is 76 lakhs. Less deduction under section 80C is 2 lakhs. So your total income, friends, amounts to 74 lakhs. On this, friends, the tax liability will be, can I say 0 to 2,50,000? The rate is 0, so tax is nil. 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs, it is 5%. If you calculate, that comes to 12,500. From 5 lakhs till 10 lakhs, the rate is 20%. So that comes to 1 lakh rupees. And above 10 lakhs, friends, now my total income is 74 lakhs. So up till 74 lakhs, it is 30%. So can I make a statement, friends? 10 lakhs till 74 lakhs. So that is 64 lakhs on that 30% amounts to 19 lakh 20,000. Now I need to aggregate this. So that will give me a total tax of 20 lakh 32,500. But now, friends, first and foremost, I need to check whether there will be a rebate under section 87A. Now, as per the rebate provision that we have just seen, that where your total income does not exceed 5 lakhs, only there you can avail rebate under 87A. That is, here your total income is 74 lakhs. How can you avail rebate? Definitely not. So I will write here nil. So 20 lakh 32,500 remains my liability, to which I will add surcharge. Now friends, what should be the surcharge rate here? My total income is 74 lakhs. If you remember that where your income exceeds 50 lakhs but does not exceed 1 crore, the rate of surcharge is 10%. So I will add over here surcharge at the rate of 10%. So that is 203 250, and I will aggregate that, which gives me 22 lakhs 35,750 as tax plus surcharge. To this friends, I will add health and education cess. Health and education cess at 4%. So that is 89,000 friends 430. My request is, if you have a calci, please always reconfirm my calculation. So my total liability comes to 23 lakh 25,180. This is already rounded off till tens. Suppose this was 178, 22 lakh 23 lakh 25,178. Suppose, then I would round it off to 180. Nearest in tens, I would round it off. So that was the first case, friends. I hope you all understood. The most important part, friends, I would say, is to understand when you are availing 115 BAC and when you are not availing 115 BAC, because here the assessee is availing deduction under chapter 6A, so naturally he is not availing 115 BAC. Next is, friends, the next case that they have given me says Mr. X, age 74 years, a resident, has gross total income of 3 crores. He has opted for section 115 BAC. So now they have given me gross total income. Since he has opted 115 BAC, almost no deduction is eligible for him, and they have not stated anything in the question. So can I say that my total income itself is 3 crores, on which I'll adopt directly the rates given in 115 BAC. Since we are doing this for the first time, I am writing it over here how you will calculate the rates. In examination condition, friends, you need not again write down these slab rates. You need not provide the bifurcation. Even if you directly write down the tax liability and then finally add surcharge and cess, even that is fine. That does not make a difference. So let me write down over here, friends, case number 2. My request is, please pay attention. As far as this case is concerned, if you have already copied this note, then you may directly move on to case 2. This note is very important. Case 2, my request is, try and solve it on your own, because that will give us more and more confidence. So here I will say calculation of tax under section 115 BAC for Mr. Y. Now what were the tax rates, friends, under 115 BAC? So I will first write down total income, because gross total income, after that there are no deduction given. As such, when you opt for 115 BAC, you don't get much deductions. That's the whole idea. So here total income also is 3 crores. On this I will say tax liability. So can I say, friends, 0 to 2,50,000, the rate is nil, 0%, so it is nil. Then 2,50,000 till 5 lakhs, it is 5%, so it is 12,500, friends. 5 lakhs. So I hope you understand. It starts with 2,50,000. Then every addition of 2,50,000, rate increases by 5%. If you remember it like that, then it's not difficult to remember these rates. So 5 lakhs till 7,50,000, it is 10%. So can I say that comes to 25,000. 7,50,000, friends, till 10 lakhs, it is 15%. So that is 37,500. 10 lakhs to 12,50,000, it is 20%. So that is 50,000. 12,50,000 to 15 lakhs is 25%. So I believe that's 62,500. And 15 lakhs and above. So here I will say 15, above 15 lakhs till 3 crores. So till 3 crores, it is 30%. So can I say 2 crore 85 lakhs? On that, it is 30%. So that gives me 85 lakh 50,000. I will aggregate all this, friends. So that gives me an answer of 87 lakhs 37,500. Now once that happens, friends, then the rate of surcharge and all remains the same. That does not differ whether it is old or new scheme. So rate of surcharge when your income is about 2 crores but does not exceed 5 crore, it is 25%. So here, because my total income is 3 crores, I will say the surcharge also will be 25%. So surcharge at the rate of 25% is 21 lakh 84,375. If I aggregate this, it gives me 1 crore 9 lakh 21,875. To which, friends, I will add cess at the rate of 4%. So that 4% cess will be 4 lakh 36,875, and my total tax liability, friends, is 1 crore 13 lakhs 58,750. I hope you all understood, friends, how the tax was calculated over here. In this question, one of the more important points is to remember, be it old scheme or new scheme, the rate of surcharge remains the same based on your total income. In this very question, friends, which we are discussing right now, question number 5, there are 2 more parts to it, and in fact, one of those parts is pertaining to your marginal relief. I'm sure you have heard that term, that how do you calculate marginal relief. Lot of people come and later ask me regarding this marginal relief. So I've covered a question on that. But these case 3 and case 4 we will be looking at in our next lecture, where we continue with these calculation of tax rates for the individuals. I hope this lecture was clear to you all. You understood how we calculated the tax rate, tax liability rather, under existing scheme and new scheme in case 1 and case 2 respectively. Case 3 and case 4, as I said, we will discuss in the next lecture. Till then, take care of yourself. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.